Joining us now, the head guy, CEO of the Virginia Chamber of Commerce, Barry DuVal. Barry, good to have you with us, man.
Good morning, John. Great to be with you. Thank you for having me on today.
I always love having you on, Barry, because you want to create jobs just like me. You're a jobs guy. I love jobs. Jobs is what, I tell you what, a job, Barry, it's not red and it's not blue. You know what it is? It's green. When you can bring a paycheck home to your family and you can take your kids to the movies on the weekend and you feeling good about yourself and you have a little means and your son or daughter needs baseball shoes or a dress or something and you can go buy it, that's really great. And so that's what this whole thing is about, Barry. And that's why I love having you on, because you're contributing to getting jobs back in America and Virginia. Now, the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, Barry, it's been called a jobs pipeline. And it's been called an economic game changer, by me mainly, for Virginia. Can you just remind our audience why this pipeline is so important for Virginia's economy?
I sure can. And just picking up on your themes about the importance of jobs and what it means to individuals, one of my favorite governors in the past used to say that the best form of social welfare is creating jobs. And job creation has the best opportunity to improve people's lives. And I just want to say that this Atlantic Coast Pipeline is a job creation pipeline. I wanted to let you know that this project, for people who don't know, is going to help us as a nation be more energy independent. It's going to help us create jobs. In fact, it's a $5 billion infrastructure project that's going to have positive statewide. It's going to ultimately save consumers and businesses from Virginia and into North Carolina energy cost. The initial estimates during construction, John, is about 8,800 jobs. And then after this big infrastructure project is created, it'll be 1,300 jobs. Today, in the political environment, we're hearing about the potential of an infrastructure project coming out of Washington. And those are obviously going to be public dollars. This project is private dollars that are going to help us be more energy independent, private dollars that are going to help our economy grow as a result of the new natural gas that will be available for businesses, and private dollars that are going to create jobs and wealth and prosperity for everyone it serves. These jobs aren't Republican or Democrat. They're just jobs that help people provide for their families.
See, that's why this pipeline, Barry DuVal, by the way, we're with Barry DuVal here in the John Fredericks Radio Network live from Washington, D.C. Barry is the president CEO of the Virginia Chamber of Commerce, the big one, the big kahuna one. And, oh, by the way, his chair for the year is our good friend, Susie Kelly from Joe Kell. That's right. That's his chairwoman.
That's
and
right.
Those Powerful Moments ad that you hear running on my show and the radio stations we own, that's Susie Kelly in the flesh right there. So, Barry, we got a lot in common. We got Powerful Moments, we got pipelines, we got jobs. One of the driving factors behind the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, Barry, is that electric utilities are switching from coal to cleaner burning natural gas. I mean, that is just where we're going. Now, that obviously requires a lot of additional fuel to power those plants, and new pipelines are needed to get it here. But those that are not in favor of the pipeline, they say, well, there's environmental aspects and blah, blah, blah. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of uncertainty around the future of federal energy policy. Under the previous administration in the White House, there was a significant push for something that your listeners may remember called the Clean Power Plan. It was highly controversial. It was litigated. And the goal of the Clean Power Plan in many ways was admirable, but the economics and the science behind it was not necessarily achievable. In this instance, the Atlantic Coast Pipeline will actually help those who want to see more solar and more wind power. And the reason is that the sun doesn't always shine, therefore solar energy is not always available, and the wind doesn't always blow, and therefore the energy is not always available for those alternatives. However, the Atlantic Coast Pipeline will provide dependable, low-cost, and clean energy. will actually help from the transition from coal-fired power stations to natural gas. And this natural gas is going to be best in class, inexpensive, environmentally friendly, as well as economically sound. So we think this switch from coal-fired plants to natural gas will help meet the goals of what has now not being promoted by EPA in the Clean Power Plan, but definitely meets the goals of having a clean energy and actually providing a pathway for those who would like to see more alternative energy, such as wind and solar. So I think those who are listening that want to see more wind, more solar, more alternative energy can now begin to understand the benefits of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, because it will actually enhance the ability for us to utilize those alternative forms of energy, because we'll have this dependable source of new energy flowing into Virginia.
You know, Barry, DuVal, you're right, because we often hear from manufacturers, potential manufacturers, and developers in Virginia. They say, look, if I'm going to build a plant and hire people, I need to have access to energy, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. And the beauty of this pipeline is, if it's depending on the area it's in, that you can tap right into it. So let's say I want to build a plant and I need energy. I can build it near the pipeline. I can just tap right into it, right? I mean, isn't that one of the deals about it?
Yeah, and we have been constrained in Virginia from attracting large manufacturing facilities, partly due to not having enough ability to produce natural gas to meet their energy needs. Mm-hmm. There are companies already that are anticipating the pipeline going through, and if it does, they will in fact invest in expansions and relocations. For example, in Buckingham County recently, they announced they're working on a deal where the company has agreed to expand. It's a manufacturing facility if the pipeline comes through, because without the pipeline, they won't have the access to low-cost energy. And the county itself is working with this employer on a expansion plan, and they are anticipating the ability to expand, because 96% of this pipeline has already been identified for utilization with potential expansions and, again, more job creation, which I didn't count in my earlier numbers, from employers looking to increase manufacturing in Virginia. So I think it's a win for all areas of the Commonwealth. There's actually going to be one of the features of this pipeline down into Hampton Roads. So for your listeners in Hampton Roads, they hear about the pipeline being in the western part of the state. I hope they understand the features and benefits of this pipeline is that it will bring the spur down to Hampton Roads, which Virginia Natural Gas will have the ability to participate in. And as a result, it will be able to service companies wanting to expand in Hampton Roads. So it's a win for the western part of the state, central Virginia, as well as a win for those in Hampton Roads. And one aspect of this pipeline which has impressed me is the bipartisan nature of this pipeline. All the representatives in Hampton Roads, Republicans and Democrats from the General Assembly, have supported this pipeline, and it's been a bipartisan project.
I love bipartisanship, right? It's always good when people get to work together. But look, Barry DuVal, here's the deal. Pipeline is jobs. Pipeline is energy. Energy is jobs. I mean, it's a very simple thing. And, you know, Barry, a lot of people say, well, they're going to protest against the pipeline because they don't want to go through my backyard, or that's dangerous, or it might leak, or this or that. It might hurt the environment. Okay, what they don't realize, Barry, is most likely they're already standing over a pipeline right now somewhere in Virginia. There's thousands of pipelines in Virginia. There's never been an accident. There's never anything. In fact, when you think about it this way, you're probably standing on one now. But if you think about it this way, you got to get this energy here somewhere. So there's only three ways: pipeline, train, or truck. That's it. There's only three ways. Wouldn't you rather be underground in a pipe, which is completely safe, than on a rail car? Look how many accidents we've had. Or on a truck, like driving down the highway at 70 miles an hour? Give me a break. Barry, the people that are protesting because they're telling us, well, the pipeline, it's got environmental concerns because it's not safe. How does that make any sense based on the fact there has never been an accident?
Well, I think people understandably have fears of what they don't understand. If they don't understand it, then they often fear it. That's the normal reaction. But as you just articulated, it'll probably give some great relief to those who are concerned about this project from a safety perspective to recognize first, as you said, we've never had a natural gas pipeline problem in Virginia. And second, there are already 2.5 times as many miles of natural pipeline in Virginia as there are interstate highways in Virginia. So if people who've traveled our Commonwealth see all the interstate highways, think about it. They're already 2.5 times as many miles of natural gas pipeline. In fact, Dominion Energy already operates 12,000 miles of interstate natural gas pipelines in a safe manner. So it's an understandable concern, but they don't realize how important and how the existing infrastructure is already operating in such an environmentally safe way and an economically sound way. One of the other concerns, John, that I've heard from people beyond the environment is that it might impact tourism. As you know, tourism employs about 250,000 people in Virginia, and it's important. There are over 4 million people in the Commonwealth right now with over 200,000 businesses. It's an important industry, but this pipeline will be done in such an environmentally friendly manner. It may give them encouragement to know that there's already more pipelines operating in Napa Valley than there will be in the Commonwealth of Virginia. There's clearly a big tourism draw with the wine industry and others going to Napa Valley. So they're extremely environmentally safe, and they're extremely economically and environmentally compatible with the economy of Virginia.
It is interesting also. I've read a couple of texts, if I may. Robert in Virginia Beach, Barry says, no, tell Barry I don't want a pipeline. I want much more explosive chemicals on my highway. Tongue in cheek there. Okay, let's see what else we got. Colonel Mike in Virginia Beach. Oh, you're like hitting the beaches today. Says, John, ask Barry if there is a state-of-the-art power plant under Dominion Power that has not been put online because the supply pipeline for fuel needs to cross a river and environmentalists blocked its construction.
I think the questioner is probably interested in how those who are supporting environmental justice at the same time are reconciling, and how do we reconcile environmental safety. One of the features of this particular pipeline is that there is a process in place both at the state level and at the federal level that will ensure that safety measures are taken. Energy, like many other industry, is highly regulated at the federal level, and that's why these are designed and constructed in such a safe manner. And for those that are concerned about environmental justice, they can rest assured that the federal government and the state government are looking at this. I know Governor Northam's administration is working closely with those who are environmentally concerned. Governor McAuliffe before was working very closely with those that are environmentally concerned, and those concerns have been addressed in a design and permitting process. In fact, just recently, the DEQ issued one of the most important permits because the design of this project is so focused on being environmentally safe. So for those listeners who are concerned about that, this is why and how government operates best, when it in fact protects our environment and protects our citizens. But the pipeline is going to do so in a way that's economically sound. And listen, John, it's going to make us more economically competitive. Virginia's national rankings have fallen, mostly because of the downturn in defense spending, mostly because we've been dependent upon federal spending. And we have an opportunity to diversify our economy in the Commonwealth. And yes, we're going to have an influx of significant revenues coming from Washington with the new spending bill. And defense spending is going to rise again. And Virginia's economic growth is going to continue to come back at the national level and even higher. Our unemployment rate is already below 3%. But in order to have long-term, competitive, sustainable growth as a Commonwealth, we've got to diversify into manufacturing and other areas. So as the state chamber president, We have 26,000 businesses that are members. We're the largest membership organization and advocacy group for business. We don't endorse candidates. We endorse ideas, right. And this Atlantic Coast Pipeline is a powerful idea that we've endorsed, right, along with Republicans and Democrats, because it's going to create jobs and help Virginia be more competitive, increase our national rankings, and help more people find jobs and live in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So you can hear my enthusiasm for the project, because I really think it'll make us competitive as a state.
Well, and I just want to remind our listeners, there are already 300,000 miles of natural gas pipelines in America and 2.4 million miles of pipelines in America of all types. So this is just not a big deal. I've only got 30 seconds, and I'm going to read this text by Amy in Fairfax. So I got 20 seconds, Amy. I'll do the best with I can. She says, why is it necessary to go land by eminent domain for ACC pipeline? Did you see Cuccinelli's op-ed in the Sunday Post? In 8 seconds, Amy, I have been battling Ken Cuccinelli for 10 years on just about everything. He's been wrong on everything, and he's wrong again. He's consistent, though, consistently wrong.